I mean, getting into music for me was not your traditional path, I don't think. You hear stories all the time about kids that were 17 and interning at Republic Records, and then they make their way up and all that. And that's not my story at all.
The One More Time Music Podcast. Genuine conversations with genuine people about music. Hosted by Henry with a 3 and Playback Ben.
We're from Beamer Coops to Pencils. Don't want this to end, so part that one more time. Part that one more time. Part that shit like one more time. They part that one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's another episode of the One More Time podcast. I am your host, Playback Ben, here with my co-host.
Henry with a 3. Henry with an E was already taken, so we made an adjustment.
And Henry, who do we have on the podcast today?
Today on the podcast, all the way from England, decided to join us, Prince Harry.
Yes. What a treat. I get that a lot.
We are in the
I get that more than you would think.
Do you?
So, yeah, for sure. It's because my eyes are close together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Henry, you nailed the roast.
Literally.
It's a thing. We roast everybody on the intro.
Yeah. But yeah, so in all seriousness, we have Dan Helfrich. Is that?
It's actually K. Like
Helfrich.
Helfrich.
Yeah, with a CK.
Helfrich.
But
German?
it's actually CH. It is German. Yeah.
Sprichst du ein bisschen Deutsch?
No, none.
Nine. But yes, we have Dan Helfrich. He is head of A&R at 3rd Brain, spelled with a 3, because
With a
that's how it
3.
should be spelled.
Shout out 3rd Brain.
That's why I came on this podcast.
That's the only reason. It's the only reason we got him.
Yeah.
But no, so Dan, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to jump right into it. So you are the youngest of 3 brothers?
Correct, yeah.
Youngest of 3.
By a lot.
By a lot.
Yeah.
How much?
My middle brother, is 7 years older
Shout out to
than me.
Ben.
Shout out to Ben.
Not shouting out
He'll
Ben.
love that. He'll love that.
Yeah, and it's a running joke.
It's not Ben with a 3, though. You know what I'm saying?
And I can't get a shout out. It's like, what's the guy got to do to get a shout out?
He's got to do something legendary to earn a shout out from me. I don't know what it is yet.
Apparently I haven't
That's
set
fair,
the
I
bar
think,
very
right?
high.
You know?
Yeah.
So you got Ben, older
Ben,
brother.
and then my oldest brother is Todd, 11 years older than me. They're actually my half-brothers.
Okay, half-brothers,
Yeah.
11 and 7 years older.
Yeah.
You've been called the encyclopedia of music. Did you know that?
No, by who?
By one of your brothers.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Wow.
Where do you think that name came from?
Them, probably.
Yeah, but why?
Clearly. A lot of it has to do with them, but I don't know. I just think I've taken a liking to a lot of different genres and types of music, and people just throw it at me like I don't know if he told you, but my dad was a huge fan of like James Taylor and singer-songwriters like Gordon Lightfoot, who you probably never heard of before. It was like a massive Canadian singer-songwriter, folk singer. He like forced that down our throats as kids. So I have a passion for that. And then Ben and Todd, they were much older than me. So they were listening to, Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, all those different types of artists. I think I was the only second grader maybe in elementary school that had the Metallica Ride the Lightning CD like in their desk. You know what I mean? Like I would pop it in the CD player, Walkman or Discman, whatever it was, at recess and like listen to it. You know what I mean?
Metallica was actually my first concert ever.
No way.
Love it. Yeah. Shout out to my dad.
How old were you for that?
Super young. I would have been 13 maybe.
Seriously, shout out to your dad, because our dad, when we had the little Metallica box set when we were kids, they had like VHS tapes of them playing live and all that.
Yeah.
My dad took it away from us and got mad when we would listen to it.
No.
He thought it was a terrible influence. So shout out to your dad for supporting. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
And so you were listening to all sorts of music.
Yeah.
You were influenced by all sorts of types of artists.
Yeah.
What would you say was your favorite genre growing up? Did you have one? Or was it that
phases,
vast?
man, phases. Like, I went through like a metal phase, and then I went through like a pop punk phase where I was a huge fan of like the Starting Line and Fall Out Boy, the Patrick Stump and those guys grew up, towns next to us. So
where are you from?
Northbrook, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago, northwest suburbs.
Okay.
And I mean, Northbrook is like this little small town that has produced some of these like insane people. Like Krewella's from there. Cascade is from there. If you're familiar with it. Cascade. John Hughes, the director who did like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and all that, graduated with my dad from our high school.
No way.
Shout out to Northbrook.
Shout out to Northbrook. Yeah, Northbrook is. So it's
breeding
like
success.
It's
clearly
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. John Shire, I played basketball with in high school. Like he is now
from Duke.
Yeah.
Ugh. I went to
He's
Carolina.
a year older than me.
I went to Carolina.
Oh, you did?
So,
well, I'm not one way or the other. I'm proud of John for, obviously he's the head coach at Duke. It's crazy.
I've been known to shit on John Shire amongst all Duke players as well.
Anybody can say what they want about him, but clearly he's, another level of brilliant. And just having seen it up close and like what he does, he's just a freak. Like he is incredible. He's the highest basketball IQ of all time. And when somebody like Coach K, I'm sure you're a Roy Williams fan, but it's pretty insane to see.
It was a love-hate with Roy at the end, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Did he overstay his welcome?
Right, maybe.
But big basketball guy?
Huge
Basketball guy.
I played in high school, and I still play now. I play with Woe in his Cam Kirk league, and I play.
Shout out to Woe.
Woe is Woe.
Woe connected these dots. We appreciate you, Woe.
Woe, we already had you on the podcast, but we'd
it's
love
the
to have
beginning
you.
of the episode, so we don't know actually if we appreciate you linking us, but we'll let you know how it is. How it is at the end.
Yeah, I already don't appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at the
so Northbrook breeds like a lot of talent.
Yeah, and so outside of basketball, what other sports did you play growing up?
Lacrosse. I played in college.
Where'd you play?
Indiana University.
Yeah.
It was a club team, so it's not like NCAA. We're not anything like super serious, but so I played baseball, a little baseball growing up until I had to choose between baseball and lacrosse. I feel like I played every sport at one time, like at some sort of competitive level.
Yeah. There's a something there with the music. Yeah, like the different genres of music, the different sports. You kind of have this.
I feel like the things that I like a lot. So it's like playing sports, like sure, I'll play every sport. It's like music, I'll listen to every genre, Not every genre, but I don't know. The things that I like a lot, and then the things I don't care for, I just take no part in. So it's kind of all in or all out.
We've talked a lot about similarities between sports and music. What would you say are some of the qualities? Maybe it sounds like you played a lot of team sports, right? So what would you say are some of the qualities that you possess by virtue of playing a lot of team sports that maybe have translated into your career in music? Would you say there are any?
Oh, tons.
Similar, yeah,
tons. I mean, being a part of a team in general and just knowing how to delegate or if somebody's really good at something like. I think a good example is, Wade Davis used to work with us, who you spoke with. Yeah. He is a brilliant marketer and person that puts together like the most creative things that you've ever seen, on the content side or branding side or whatever it is. And my brain doesn't work that way. I think I'm good at identifying and helping create, super unique music. So I'm never going to I'm going to tell Wade to go do whatever it is he does. I don't care, what it is, because I know it's going to be great. And I think through team sports, that's kind of what you learn to do is you kind of rely on others to do what they're good at, and then you do what you're good at. And I think a good, the best functioning teams are the ones that have their different role players that come together and,
One more time.
So here on the One More Time podcast,
One more time.
So we feel like someone has dropped a gem like you just dropped. We asked them to just say it back one more time for the people in the back that didn't quite hear that.
Yeah.
That was a gem right there. If you could sum that up one more time for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to make it short, being any great team has individual role players,
Yes.
and maybe there's a star player that does what they do, but that's even a role, right? It's like, okay, you're the best player on the team, so you go score when we need a bucket. But then you've got like the Chris Pauls, or you've got these role players that kind of assist and help on the side that help that star player really shine. And I think that's what a good music team does for the star of an artist. I think that's what's
Absolutely. Shout out to Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman.
yes, big time. They provided the joy of my childhood years.
There you go.
For sure.
That's huge. So you went to university at Indiana.
Yep.
Played some club lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a traditional, music internship, right, during school.
No.
What were you studying?
Business. I was in the Kelly School of Business at IU, and marketing was my kind of my major. And I didn't even. I mean, getting into music for me was not your traditional path, I don't think. Most people, you hear stories all the time about kids that were 17 and interning at Republic Records, and then they make their way up and all that. And that's not my story at all.
Yeah.
I moved here because I got an internship at an ad agency called BBDO.
Yeah.
We've heard of it.
What was that? apartment like for your summer
Oh, the
internship?
first one?
The first apartment.
Solace on Peachtree. Did you hear
Yes.
somebody just got shot out there?
It doesn't surprise
not
me
surprised.
based on
Not surprising, not-
So
yeah.
paint us the picture of that first apartment. Was it glamorous?
No. No,
Did you have furniture?
barely?
So that internship turns into a full-time job.
Yep.
You had a pretty, successful career in advertising coming out of school, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so you were doing
I mean,
advertising.
BBDO is legit.
Yeah. And so how does your origin story start
yeah.
from leaving the advertising company and advertising industry into music? How did that start?
Jake Udell is the CEO and founder of 3rd Brain, our company.
Shout out, Jake.
Yep, big time.
Jake,
We'd love to have you on the podcast.
I'll tell him if he doesn't see this, and if he doesn't watch it, just kind of shows you what standing I'm in with him, right?
Please watch it, Jake.
Yeah, please, God, for
For Dan's sake
one time.
only.
It doesn't really help to say, please watch it on the thing
on the
that he's
podcast that
supposed
he's
to
not going to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
That's
cut
true.
that up as a content clip. We're going to tag Jake. Everyone tag Jake in the comments.
Tag Jake in the comments.
Yeah. Well, I think I owe every opportunity I've ever had in music to him because I was kind of telling you guys before, he's the most brilliant business person I've ever met. He was a close friend of mine growing up. We grew up down the street from each other.
Shout out Northbrook.
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 Just-
Again,
Breeding the Jake Udells of the world,
It's
the
crazy.
Krewellas, the John Shires. No.
yeah, definitely. No, it's crazy. Jason Kipnis also, if you guys are familiar,
Wow.
baseball player.
The list goes on.
Yeah, the list goes on. It's crazy.
Dan Helfrich.
I mean,
Dan Helfrich's of the world.
maybe not. I don't know. But
Does Northbrook claim you?
do they claim me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not on like the Wikipedia. You're not going to find unless I change it and put myself on there, which I might do right after.
Anybody
this.
can edit Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Let's do
for
that.
sure.
Let's do that.
No, but he. So I've been best friends with him for a long time. And I got to be in his wedding a couple years ago. Like we're really close friends. I think he kind of knew me always as like a music guy. He was building businesses at a young age. He had a business called On the Court Sports, which is a sports memorabilia company.
Cool.
And he just had the coolest ways of, from figuring out how to get really cheap jerseys made in China and ship them over, and how to get players to, sign a bunch of things, even as like a sixth grader, right? And he would do deals with these major athletes and was friends with like Joakim Noah and all this stuff that like as a young kid, it's like, how did you figure this out? You know what I mean? So it was always fascinating to kind of follow along his business journey. And, but I think he always knew me as like the music guy, kind of like what you're talking about.
The
with
encyclopedia
my brother.
of music.
Yeah. Like,
So
he
it
was
wasn't
always
just your
interested in
brothers.
that.
Other people
No.
did see that in you.
I guess looking back on it, but at
Yeah.
the time you don't really know that.
Sure.
It's just like, this is what I'm interested in. And then he started to, he wanted to be a rapper more than anything. Kanye West is his idol. So he was making music, and, we've told this story a million times with when we're talking with people, but he, I think, hired me as the head of A&R because I was the only person that was like, bro, your music is terrible. Like, you're an awful artist. I know you work hard, and he had DJ Khaled and DJ Drama hosting his mixtape. Like, it was crazy back in 2009 or whatever.
So he was still pursuing it.
Yeah, he
like,
was pursuing
for
it
a while.
for a long time until he found Krewella. And then and I remember he called me and was like, Jahan and Yasmin? I was like, yeah, I've known them my whole life. Like, my mom taught them in 6th grade social studies. I've known them
Damn,
forever.
small town for real.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like, yeah, I've known them forever. Why? And he's like, they make music and they're incredible, and I believe in them more than I believe in myself. And I think the way he describes it is it was the first time he believed in someone else, someone else's
More
craft
than
more
him.
than himself.
Comes off as very genuine when that happens.
Super,
Like, oh,
yeah.
well, you obviously are serious about this.
The funny thing is, like, knowing what I know now, I would have probably told him he's crazy. But back then I was like, dude, just, if you want to manage him, go for it, because you're going to be successful no matter what. And he had tried some other things outside of music too, but this was, I think, his real passion. And so, I listened to the music and was just like, man, this is crazy. I think you're onto something here, because at the time EDM was not necessarily something that, two Pakistani girls and a dude producer were like, the forefront of,
Right.
But I think what we do a good job as a company are finding the things that don't make sense, but they make all the sense. It's like, not this, there's something here that is going to work because it's different from everything else. And credit to the girls and what they do, because they work super hard, and they blast it off. And under a year. You know, it was crazy. And
Shout out Krewella.
yeah, big time. Big time. I love those girls.
Yep.
Super talented. I remember sitting on the steps of Warner Chapel because they were doing a meeting for a pub deal, and I remember sitting on those steps, like really still not really knowing what it was, but I knew it was Warner and I knew it was a big deal. And I remember sitting there with Miles Everett, who used to work with us as well. And he filmed the girls. He was the girls' videographer for a long time before he joined our company. And I remember just sitting there being like, this is crazy. Like, This is the one thing I've really loved and has been my hobby for my whole life. And now I get to sit here on these steps where like all this music is made. You know, that was kind of the first time where I was like, this is insane. But then Jake and I kept talking about the business. And then at one point it was like, why don't you join us? And it was like, okay, so what does that mean? And it means packing up from Atlanta, where I'd already built, you know, a serious, you know, awesome friend group, people I'm close to this day, packing up and leaving all that behind and going to live in this house that Shaq used to own in LA that was next door to Wiz Khalifa with like 10 other people, you know, and it was quite the shift in lifestyle. But
So was that a hard decision, would you say? Or was
Yes and no. It was hard because it was exciting because this is what I wanted to do. I thought, you know, I read every book I could possibly read beforehand. You know, all you need to know about the music business.
Yep.
Shout out Donald.
Donald Passman.
Huge.
We'd love to have you on the podcast, Donald.
Is that what this is? A shout out of like everyone you would want on the podcast? Like name
That's
drop.
like a low-key plug for future guests.
For sure.
In case they see it and they know we want to have them on the podcast.
You never know. Put it out there.
Yeah.
You never know what comes back.
Yep.
So you know, I read a million books and just to learn the business. And then at that point,
before accepting Jake's offer.
I think at the same time, because I was like, I know he's going to be successful and I love working
So
with
you
him.
were like, shit, I better figure this out.
Sometimes you just believe in
Not
a
because-
person. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
you believe in a person, but also because it aligned with what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because he was doing some
Had you ever actually thought about wanting to be in music though, other than being a audiophile, like listening to music?
I never took it seriously until that door.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really grateful for because I think a lot of people really struggle to get a foot in the door and work super, super hard to get in the business. And that's something I'm not shy about at all. Like Jake ushered me into the music business and gave me an opportunity. You know, and I think I took it and ran with it. And I think that's all you can do in this business is work hard and take every opportunity you possibly can and you know, make the most of it. And I think I did a good job of that.
Wait.
One more.
Give him that one more time. That was a big one right there.
Big
Sure.
gems.
Yeah, sure.
From Big
Well,
Dan.
I think all you can do is in the music industry is if you see a door and no matter how it opens, whether you work super hard or you didn't work hard at all, the thing you can do is walk forward through the door and take advantage of it and work as hard as you possibly can.
It's huge.
Love it.
It's it. That's all it is. You know, I think there are
Because
people-
eventually the doors will open somehow.
Yeah.
Like you said, whether it's because you grinded your ass off or because you stumbled upon something, there's going to be a door that's open. So being aware enough to see that this door is opening, fucking push through it and
It's
make
putting
the most
yourself
of it.
in the position to see the doors open. It's setting it. You can't make the doors open, but you can put yourself in a place where you're ready for any of these doors to open at any time, and then you can attack.
Yeah,
right?
and I happen to have one door that was, you know, that I didn't do anything for except for be friends with Jake and have a knowledge of music. But then at that time, it's like, you know, I was lucky to have the Krewella name behind me, the Zoo name behind me, and then the first project I got to see from kind of inception was Gallant. And
talk to
on
us
the
about
Gallant.
that remix package project that you worked on with the Weight and Gold release.
Well, the idea was like back then, SoundCloud was still kind of king, you know, or a place to be discovered. And so, I mean, we just decided like, all right, let's just go flood SoundCloud with every, you know, Weight and Gold remix. And we don't care who it comes from, but let's just make sure that no matter anybody who's on the SoundCloud platform, they come across a Weight and Gold remix, you know, no matter what. And so that was kind of the approach. It was just like find the cool new artists or any artists at all that were semi-interesting and just go for it. And I think that played a big role in the song doing what it did.
Yeah.
Because you're tapping into all those producers' fans.
All those producers' fans, but also when you really break it down from a marketing standpoint, on a platform that discoverability like TikTok is today was king. So it's like how do you get people to find out about Gallant who are music fans? And at that time it was SoundCloud.
Was that like 5 years ago or so?
Yeah, 2016 probably.
Yeah.
2016. Yeah. So Yeah, it's super fun. I love doing that stuff. Like building the projects with the artists is always really fun because you're kind of building an identity for them. But then you get to kind of break away from that in our own, because usually the artists don't even really care that much about remixes. They're just like, yeah, whatever you guys think. So for me, it's like, oh, cool. I get to go tap into like the other genres of music that I really like, and like make cool, unique things that they don't, that I have more control over versus like, you know, kind of being.
Yeah. Because it doesn't reflect on the artist. It's not like, oh, I wanted this to happen. They can just kind of give you like whatever you want to do with this.
Yeah. And they're less like, if I tell them that something's cool, they're like, great, put it out, instead of like, but this or that, you know. So that's kind of nice to have that control. That's one of the great things about being independent. There are a lot of good and bad things, but one of the great things is you can literally do whatever you want. You don't have anybody looking over your shoulder or red tape, you know, kind of stifling what you do.
Shout out to independent artists.
Yeah,
we love you.
It's a grind.
We'd love to have you on the podcast, independent artists.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah,
all of you.
Yeah,
just the important people.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Gallant. Obviously, was someone that was early on that you guys were working with at 3rd Brain. You were responsible for, you know, kind of spearheading that project in tandem with your, you know, business partners. But I know it was a huge feat for you to kind of come in, get your, you know, feet wet, get your hands dirty. Who would win in a bowling match between Gallant, you, and Wade?
Well, we've done this several times.
And who were the winners?
I win more consistently. And they're lying to you if they say that they aren't. And I'm glad I get to be here to give you the real answer.
Obviously, you moved to LA. You were here in Atlanta before. You're back in Atlanta, but I know that you've gone back and forth a lot between here and Nashville.
Yep.
Talk to us about the Nashville scene. I've heard it's super closed off. The barrier to entry is ginormous. How have you navigated that scene?
By the way, I just got back from Nashville.
You did?
Like 2 days
like
ago. Oh, it's always a good time.
Did you work out there?
I didn't. We went to the Atlanta United soccer game versus Nashville. We were supposed to get blown out, and we tied, which is incredible.
Who was supposed to get blown out? Atlanta United?
Atlanta United was supposed to get blown out.
God, they're so disappointing, aren't they?
It's not a great year,
Just in general.
but we have a championship.
I'm a big LAFC guy because I was in LA when they started that.
Nice.
And anything like non-LA, I'm super about. So like everybody there loves the Galaxy. So a friend of mine, Peter Hannigan, shout out, one of my good childhood friends.
Shout out, Peter.
He and I were like, you know what? This is hilarious. Like they're starting an MLS team. We should go and like buy jerseys and stuff just because it's hilarious.
Just for the lulz.
Yeah. And then it actually turned into something awesome because two friends of mine, David Gray and Chris Johnson. Chris is now A&R at SoundCloud and they're building up their label. It's crazy. It's actually awesome. And then David Gray, who manages like 220 Kid and Noizu and some of these great UK dance artists.
Nice.
They are from they're big Tottenham fans. So
Tottenham.
Yeah. So they started going to LAFC games, and so we all started going together because David had season tickets. So we all got like tickets, and we go. And so that's one of the great relationship stories where it's like anybody you can find in the music industry that genuinely enjoys like sports or anything that's not, you know, in the creative industry is awesome. So
that's where the bonds are built.
But yeah, so how did you navigate the scene?
Oh, sure, Nashville. So I don't know. I've always loved country music. You know, again, it kind of goes back to my dad, who was a big fan of like Jody Messina and George Strait, Garth Brooks, and some of those. And I always really loved it. And we got introduced to an artist, a girl named Lauren Dusky, from our songwriter Dan Hennig. He used to write with her all the time in Nashville. She ended up, well, I guess before that, Dan had a couple country songs that we were loving and I thought could work at country radio. And so that really spawned me going to meet with all the labels and whatnot. And the interesting thing...
Yeah, but how did you get these meetings? Once again,
that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So that's the interesting thing about like networking, right? Yeah. Is the people in Nashville or people in Atlanta or wherever, they are interested in things that are going well outside of their space. So a guy like Seth England, who's a part of Big Loud, like runs Big Loud, Florida Georgia Line's manager, like done a ton of big things in country, but he's such an entrepreneur. He's a lot like Jake, where he is looking to do things outside of the space and grow the brand in a big way. So when someone like me comes along and emails Seth, it's like, oh yeah, I'll take the meeting because they're doing X, Y, and Z in this space and it's cool. So like, why would I not take that meeting versus like a young guy from Nashville trying to get into country music? It's like, what value do you bring me?
Sure.
So that's something I always focus on is, you know, how do you bring
which
value?
Which seems counterintuitive almost.
It's not like it used to be.
It seems like they would want, you know, if I'm thinking about it, oh, like if I'm going to approach this big country music guy, I better be into country music. You kind of were coming at it from a completely different angle, it sounds
right.
like.
But when you sit down with him and he realizes how much I know about it, he's like, oh, you pay attention to what's going on. And so, and part of that too is like, I liked country, but I wasn't the biggest fan. But then moving here, I lived with a guy named Garrett Robinson, who's like one of my best friends here, and him and the friend group that I made were big country fans. They're from the South, so we would be up at like 3 a.m. in our apartments in Buckhead, like blasting country music because they loved it. And then I just started to learn from them about artists that I maybe didn't know about that weren't like the massive George Strait superstars. Yeah. So I don't know. Over time, I just got interested in it. So I was able to speak that language. And then, those people are excited to do things where they can expand their business. Yeah. And I think they see us as a catalyst for that. It's kind of how I've built my network as a whole. So, I get in there, connect with these people. And I think at the end of the day, when you talk with people in the entertainment industry, I think if you're just a normal person, this is going to sound crazy. If you're just a normal person, like the networking is easy because I feel like you just generate meaningful relationships. You're not trying to flex. You're not trying to do any of this. Like, I drive a Buick. Could I not drive a Buick? Sure. But my grandma told me I could buy it from her for $3,000. So I gave her cash.
I love you, man.
And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying?
It's like my soulmate here.
Yeah. So I've always kind of had that way about me. My parents were teachers. We didn't have any sort of lavish lifestyle.
I did hear that you wear the same 5 T-shirts over and over again. Yeah. Is this true?
Yeah. I don't have...
Can you confirm or deny this?
This is one.
I've had this T-shirt forever, my Georgia Equestrian shirt.
Didn't even know that UGA had an equestrian wing.
Well, let me tell you, they're incredible. They're number one. They were number one in the nation.
Shout out to UGA equestrian team.
Huge. I bought it because we went to a UGA South Carolina football game with a bunch of friends, and I could not care less about the SEC or like any of these teams. But they told me because they're UGA fans, I had to get a shirt. So I woke up at like 8:30.
So you got the equestrian.
Yeah,
team.
I went to the bookstore and it was like I was looking. I was like, Georgia basketball, like I wouldn't actually wear that. I'm not going to buy a football shirt, right?
Yeah.
And then I go to the back of the bookstore, and there's these little cubbies of like a handful of T-shirts that are like different, sports.
God,
and I saw
incredible.
the equestrian one, like a girl riding a horse. It's like, all right, I'll buy that.
Nobody else.
I wear it all
I've never
the time.
seen that. That's a unique.
Yeah. Now I wear it all the time.
So good.
Yeah, my. If you look at me, you're probably not thinking like successessul music guy.
But that's part of your credit that to your success.
Sure. I mean, and I think it just
or just being true to yourself,
like down to earth.
And down to earth, and
yeah, and it's so fun though. That's the thing is like I'm so excited that I get to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, who else gets to do this? So it's kind of fun because like young me would be listening to whatever, and I can't believe that this actually happened. You know what I mean? So having that mindset is not like. That brings me back to like, okay, I'm not like the coolest thing from, since sliced bread, right? Like,
can you listen to music the same?
Yes, for sure. And that's what I think is great.
So you don't always have it on, meaning like how does this, like, is your A&R brain able to shut off?
Yes, because
That's awesome.
It's hard for me,
man.
Producer brain. I'm like, that kick could be
being
like
a producer. So being a producer is tough, and I always tell this to artists. The reason that A&R is important, I think, is because you, as the producer, you never get to listen to a song for the first time, ever, because you make it. So like you're choosing the snare, and then you're choosing the synth, and then you're choosing the chords, and then all of a sudden it becomes something that is from you, but you're not listening to it like
the first time someone listened to it.
Yeah, I'm listening to the mix.
This is a big gem. Like, one more time or not, this is huge because
run that back.
Yeah, you never get to listen to a song for the first time as the creator of it, and so you get someone's first instinct, and then the question is, right, does the person that's listening to it for the first time have good instincts or not?
Yeah, is that valuable?
Yeah, is that valuable or not?
Do I give a shit what they think?
Yeah, exactly. So there's that part of it. But
touche.
Yeah, there's definitely that part of it.
Yeah. But no, that's great. So how would you say 3rd Brain has evolved since you joined the company? Mm-hmm. How long ago has it been?
2015, I joined.
So since 2015, how would you say the company's evolved? Because I think it's definitely grown from what it was to what it is now. How would you say it's evolved?
Yeah, it's evolved in a way that I think makes total sense, and definitely a roller coaster ride. And I think any company goes through, constantly like evaluating what's best for the company. And we're mostly a record label now. We only have one.
Which you started off mostly as a management company, correct?
Yeah, and then the emergence of Spotify and DSPs and the ability to distribute and market music independently, as that grew, we found that our DIY efforts of making the connections and building the network ourselves, like we can hit up everybody at Spotify on our own. We can hit up everybody at Apple on our own. Like we have good relationships with these people. And, instead of being by the way, major labels are great in many aspects, but for getting off the ground and being put in a position where the curators are listening, you're probably not going to get that for very long, if at all, at a major company like that, if you're not already, buzzing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the value adds of us is we're such a DIY company. We have our own sync network. We have our own DSP relationships. We move in a way that really helps independent artists be seen by those people. And there's more to it than that. Obviously, marketing is playlisting is not as powerful of a discovery tool as it used to be. But, I think the DIY approach lent itself for us to then say, you know what, we have the money, we have the funding, let's go build an asset as opposed to just management, because, there have been so many times.
You can get fired on a whim. And you're not owning anything long lasting.
And they can take whatever it is that you help build for them. And it's management is so subjective.
Yeah.
You could be a Grammy nominated artist one day, and then all of a sudden decide you know what, actually there's probably better out there. It's wait, what?
Yeah.
So it's one of those, it's one of those things that we've definitely been through. And now we've kind of taken on the label approach, which I think has been really great for, sustainability and business building. Cause now, we own an asset. And I think, we specify, or we're specifically more like a chill genre, chill electronic music, but we do a lot of different things too. I wouldn't consider Emmett Fenn just a chill artist. He's a singer-songwriter. He is electronic, but he also is a freak guitar or piano player.
Yeah.
And so we get to kind of create our own projects in our own lanes, just based on the freedom that our company kind of has given, us. So,
and then how would you say you've evolved?
Yeah.
From when Jake brought you on in 2015, how would you say either your skill set or your passions, within the business, what you're most interested in,
Mm-hmm.
How would you say those have evolved, or that you've evolved?
I think I may be able to be a full-time therapist at this point.
Wow.
I'll say this. The number one thing I think, if anybody says what's your number one piece of advice for anybody in the music industry, right? Or wants to get into the music industry.
That was literally my next question.
Was it?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I can't read your handwriting, but
I can't read it barely.
Yeah, you were saying you ask non-generic questions, and I feel like that's probably the most generic. But I do. This is really important. I think emotional intelligence is the number one piece of advice that I would give to anybody.
EQ versus IQ.
No question about it. I mean, we're in the entertainment industry. It's an industry full of people that are very forward-facing and have big egos. You have to leave your ego at the door, because if you want to get into it with these people, then it's such a small industry that unless you're a powerhouse and just have the big artists behind you and you're already set, you can say and do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. I've found that, not necessarily keeping the peace, but being able to just spot the BS in some way. People flexing all the time. People who just are, you wonder what they're like behind closed doors, by themselves. Cause it's just ugh, but you get confronted with these people every day where you have to go back and forth. And it's if you can keep your cool and keep, make sure everything is objective. And it's just you might be getting screamed at on the phone for something that's not anything that's serious at all, but you kind of just have to sympathize and, whatever. So I think personally I've evolved in a way that I feel like I can have any conversation at this point and just be able to get through it. You know what I mean?
Sum that up for us.
One more time. One more time.
It's just, it's playing the game in a way where there are going to be the genuine relationships and there are going to be the people that are flexing, that are trying to be something that they're not, that you kind of have to play ball with. That, as long as kind of what we've talked about earlier, it's if you're yourself and you're just down to earth and like keep your head on straight, I think you get really far in this business because there aren't that many people like that. There are a lot of people like trying to amplify something that isn't there, you know? So that's my one piece of advice, I'd say. Not that you asked me.
No, definitely. If not music, what would you be doing?
Oh God, I have no idea. Probably in advertising still.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that scary?
I didn't love it. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not because it's just kind of what I expected to do, you know, being corporate America, kind of that thing. Both my brothers do that, and my parents they didn't really do anything risky. You know, they were teachers at the same place. My dad was a teacher and then assistant principal for 32 years at the same high school. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I know is like do one thing. And
stability,
yeah.
You know, not, you know, I guess risk averse type of approach.
No risk takers. But I'll tell you, I mean, I don't know what I would be doing to answer your question. I'd probably be in advertising and doing that whole thing. I was decent at it. I was on, you know, we were working on big clients. We were working on AT&T and doing all the different ad campaigns for them.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's Verizon.
That's Verizon, but
okay.
And Sprint.
Good try.
Yeah, it's all good. It's okay. It was our competitor, actually.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be doing that. But I'll say it's hard for me to imagine because what I've been able to do, like here, the number one thing I'm most proud of in music is there's a woman who's like an entertainment mogul, just awesome lady named Kim Garner. And I think Jake hosted like a networking event, like the Lakers game or something like that. She came and I was talking to her and I knew she was Canadian and I was like, oh, you know, I was kind of telling her like my Gordon Lightfoot story. Yeah, big time. And she was like,
yeah, I mean, you knew every word.
Every word.
Every single word to every song.
I assume Ben told you that. I do. We do. I mean, and it's true. And so I was like, I was like, do you know who that is? Because like I love when anybody knows who he is because it's just such a part of me. And she's like, yes, of course. Like I actually know Ann, his manager. I'm like,
did you light up?
No way. Yeah, because for years, even before I got into music, my brothers and we've always tried to figure out a way for my dad to get to meet Gord. Like that was the number one
Gord.
thing. Gord.
Yeah,
Gord.
that's how you know.
Good old Gord.
Shout out Gord.
You know what's crazy is like how much we know about people that don't have any idea
who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like he's my best friend.
Being in like the podcast hosting world, trying to find guests and whatnot. I mean, the amount of research I've done on people that have no idea I want them on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's crazy.
They're like, they have no clue who I am, but continue.
Yeah.
So did you find a way to meet him?
Yeah. So Kim was like, I know his manager. I'm like, there's no way. I was like, okay, I'm just going to ask you this because I have to. I'm like,
my
is
only
there
chance.
any way that you can get me in touch with Ann? Because here's what I know about Ann. She has no email address and she doesn't do things electronically. She was like,
God.
let me see.
Ann,
so I get a call like 4 days later and she's like, can you be in any of these places, you know, in the next like couple weeks because he's playing shows and I can get you guys to meet him. And I'm like, oh my God.
Did you call Dad immediately?
No. What we did was, so Ben was getting married one of the weeks that I was, there was 2 date options. One of them was literally Ben's wedding day. And then there was another one the weekend after Ben's wedding.
Okay.
And so we were traveling to Buffalo, New York for his wedding and I was like, we got to figure out how to make this happen. And then I told Ben and Todd, and I was like, we can't tell Dad. It has to be a surprise. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Ben happened to be, was he? Yeah. Ben was coming out to LA for work already that week. And the show was in San Diego. And so we had almost like a story. My cousins live in San Diego. And so we were like, what if we create a story where Ben is coming to LA for work, and then after the work week, we're going to drive down to San Diego because Gord's playing, and then we can, and the excuse is like, we'll hang with our cousins we haven't seen in a while. And then...
Dad, why don't you join us?
Yeah.
Come on out.
Come on, let's do it. Like, we'll go to the Gord concert. He knew we were going.
Okay. So it wasn't...
So here's
But going to the Gord concert and meeting the Gord.
The Gord.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He didn't know until we went. So long story short, we went to the Taylor factory, the guitar, which is in San Diego, and and the guy who owns Taylor Guitars, there's a video online of him talking about his biggest influences, and one of them was Gord. So I showed that to my dad, and it was like, what would you, and the question was like, what did you do the first time you met Gord? Like to the Taylor owner. And then I showed that video to my dad while we were there, and I was like, what would you do? Or what would you say? He's like, I have no idea what I would say. And I'm like, well, you better figure it out because it's happening tonight.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
did his face just light up?
Oh man. Like I don't even think he knew what to say or do.
I want to do something like that. That sounds amazing.
It's legendary.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's the number one thing that I've ever done with my music career.
Wow.
That's like selfless as hell.
I guess. I don't know. I got a lot of joy out of it.
I guess
I've heard about
you
these
were a
dudes
huge
for
Gordon
so long.
Lightfoot fan too.
Yeah, and not only that, like I know that. I mean, it's crazy. I know the members of his band, and not personally, but like I know who they are.
That's
so,
crazy.
Anyway,
so, what would you say you're up to right now? Like, what are you most excited about coming up?
Yeah.
Anything that you can share, of course.
Yeah. We have a song by Vandelux called "Matter of Time" that's on the hot electronic charts right now, Billboard.
Awesome.
And that's going up crazy. And I'm just excited about building the label, honestly. You know, the chill genre is one where I think there is a space for real brands, not just like nature photos, which I think a lot of it is right now. Yeah. But it's a space where it's like awesome music and it blends a lot of genres and elements. I think it's still pretty early on for its rise. So I'm really excited to build that and just keep finding artists.
Should we play a little bit of the Vandelux song real quick?
Yeah. We can play a little bit.
Yeah,
let's
please
do it. Yeah,
so that was Matter of Time.
That was Matter of Time by Vandelux.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're trying to do with this song, would you say, and the genre as a whole? Yeah.
So the song is moving in an incredible way. Steve Cardigan is a big curator on TikTok who actually works with us, and he made this video of his playlist is called "I'm a Rap Fan, but these house songs slap." And he made a video to that song, and it just kind of started to go crazy. And there's a lot more that went into it, but you know, Steve was a big part of it, and it's one of those genres I just think is untapped, and to make more of a commercial sound to it is something that's exciting for me, to kind of build in more singer-songwriter elements, but with the chill sound and build a brand. I think there's just an opening. So
that's exciting.
I love the idea of the brand building around it, because you're right, it playlists like crazy.
Yeah.
People are listening to this type of music. I catch myself during the workday now working from home. I have kind of chill vibes, like playlists on Spotify going a lot, and things that I think would fit with that, song.
Yeah.
But I don't know who half these artists are. Don't know what their brand's like. So I think it's a cool opportunity to capitalize on the popularity of the genre, but really give it life. You know what I mean?
Big time. I think a lot of the artists are more introverted, so they're not like necessarily putting themselves out there, promoting themselves like crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a big opportunity because you can kind of be the pioneer of that. That's like there's this whole opportunity to make this a mainstream kind of commercial thing that hasn't been done. So that's like thinking really big.
Well, that's kind of what we've done the whole time, I think, is like try to find the things that are different and
the things that don't make sense that totally make sense.
Love that.
I love that. Like it should be your tagline if it's not.
Thank you. Yeah.
Making things that making sense out of
that
things.
Should be the tagline.
We have a pretty good tagline. We'll say it's 1 + 1 = 3. And the way that 3rd Brain came about is like
amazing.
You have like the one entity, which is like the business, and then you have the artist. And then, which like the combination of the two create this third thing that you wouldn't have been able to
achieve without either one.
Yeah, without a team.
The sum of the parts is greater than the
whole.
Whatever that means.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
something like
we have a decent tagline already, I think.
Yeah.
But
it could be a secondary option.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Maybe it will be.
If that one ever.
If that one flops. We'll come back to this.
So you go ahead.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've done the whole time. Is try to find things that are not already happening, but that should be, or kind of follow our instincts too on what we like and all that. So
for sure. Yeah. So we've come to a final segment on the One More Time podcast, curated by my guy Henry with a 3. Get right into it, Henry.
This segment of the One More Time podcast is called the Rapid Fire Rampage.
All right.
It's a 3-part rampage. Basically, I'll kind of explain them as we go. Give you some short answer kind of questions. You just hit me with some rapid fire answers.
Okay.
I'm going to do a this or that. We just kind of pick one.
Okay.
I have 2 options. And I'm going to do a word association. I'm going to give you one word, spit one word back at me.
Okay.
The less you think, the better. Not the littler you think,
Buckle
the
up,
better.
Dan.
Buckle up for the Rampage.
Littler, I think.
I made that word up, I think, on episode 3 or 4.
I love it. I'll start using it.
Littler.
Yep. Stuart Littler.
Stuart Littler. Shout out Keenan Rush.
A lot of shout outs this podcast.
We like shouting people out. We like people.
Yeah.
So here we go. Rapid fire Rampage. Short answer, part 1. Here we go. Give us, Dan, one project, mixtape, EP, or album in your top 5 all time.
Block Party Silent Alarm album.
Give us your favorite sport to watch or play.
Basketball.
What's one genre of music that you secretly like or people might not know you like?
There literally is. I'm shameless with what I like. I mean, I like, Baby by Justin Bieber just as much as the next guy. So
Perfect.
whether they tell you
It's
it
a
or
great
not.
answer.
Yeah.
Perfect. Tomorrow, Joe Biden exiles you from America. Where do you go live?
Probably the UK so I can watch Premier League.
Give us one artist or producer that 3rd Brain should sign today.
This is your chance, Dan.
That's actually available or like dream artist.
Maybe one of each? I don't know.
Okay.
Pretend like everyone's available.
I love the Biebs. I would love to A&R the next Bieber album. That would be
Yeah.
insane.
Okay,
My
what about
favorite.
one that you know is available that you may or may not be interested in signing?
Kind of underground.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. Well, I mentioned Block Party, Silent Alarm, and Kelly, the lead singer, is awesome. He's like one of my favorite. Actually, I take it back. I do take back the Bieber thing actually, because if I could work with any artist in the world, it would be the 1975. They're my favorite band
Really?
in the world for sure. They're incredible. Maddie Healy is a genius. Like,
Shout out to 1975.
oh, huge. What they do. Sorry to go. This is
Go ahead.
Rampage.
Yeah.
What they do is so brilliant. Like they have pop songs, they have weird electronic songs, they have songs that don't make any sense arrangement wise. I'll tell you, like there's a song called Menswear that's like a 2.5 minute intro that's just electronic weird beat, and then like a song that I think they meant to write over it that just didn't maybe make sense, so they threw it at the end of the song, and it's my favorite song by them. And that's the one thing I love about them is that they have these things that real fans can kind of dive into, and it builds texture with their project so that the fans that they have like are real genuine diehard fans because it's stuff that is very unique, and so that's what I love about them.
Nice.
Do you have any playlists on Spotify that you curate at all?
No.
Would you be open to curating one?
I would love to. The thing that's weird, like
I mean, even just for me and Henry,
right.
because I'm like, he's thrown out a lot of people that I've definitely heard of, but I'll admit I haven't dove into their discography and listened to them regularly. I'd love to get you to monthly playlist for me just to like make sure I'm tapping into stuff I should be.
Well, I'll tell you, my liked songs on Spotify is so all over the place.
We need
awesome.
access to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you make that public?
I think so. Maybe if I can. I don't know. I will if I can. It's so out there. You'll be like, how does this make any sense? That,
I love that.
On the car ride
That's
over,
great.
you listen to like 7 different genres. But
Yeah.
no, but it's been interesting. We were talking about going to Nashville, but it was the same thing with Atlanta. And the thing about Atlanta music scene that I've come to appreciate so much is obviously like I had a knowledge of the city because I lived here before and not doing music, and then I moved back doing music, and it was, I couldn't stand LA anymore. It's just so many people that it's just like, God, like this is your existence. I just can't do it. A lot of people go like, oh, this is LA, and like for me it's like, this is LA. Like that was kind of how my LA experience was. A lot of great friends out there, but still. And so I came back, and you know what? It's crazy, man. Like there are so many great people here in rap or just in music in general out here that have done so many great things, for me. I remember I wasn't even living here for more than 2 weeks before Key Henderson let me come over.
Shout out Key.
Opens doors.
Yeah,
She
big time.
is
She really
a legend.
does. She really does.
She is fantastic. She literally, I hadn't been here for more than 2 weeks. She had me over to her house for dinner, and we drank wine, had a great conversation, hung out, and she's such a sweetheart. The guys at Streamcut, Phil and Jason, and then Quinn and Lucas, and obviously Woe, and then guys like PK and Yo Phillips and Ty Baisden. Like all these people are so great. And have been so open to like me coming here. That's not in their space. You know what I mean? And that's been really incredible because the fact that they're open to me and accepting me has created things that like I never thought I would be able to be a part of. Where like Lucas and I, he's got an awesome. I know Woe talked about it. Lush Music Group is an amazing publishing company, and
shout out Lush.
They're expanding. Yeah,
they have
TNT and Taj and Evergreen and some great producers, and we set up a trip, just Lucas and I, for TNT wants to do way more than rap, and that's what I find with a lot of these people out here is they're. A lot of folks that grow up here, like they're kind of confined to Atlanta.
Pigeonholed. Yeah,
and they're not, the idea of going out to LA is like, sure, would they love to do it? Yeah, but where do you even start with that? And what do you do? And he, I know TNT has aspirations to do more than just rap, and he's so talented that, it made sense. So I worked with them to kind of put them in with like Jeremy Levin's crew and David Silverstein's crew at Mega House. Like they're incredible. They've got like Monsters and Strangers and Ali Tamposi and all these great pop in Robopop, like all these great people. And so we set up a whole trip for him to just kind of go do that, because otherwise, they're not in the scene like that, and so it's fun to be able to provide value for them. And then they let me use their studio space, if we have artists coming in or set up sessions. So I just want to say the Atlanta music scene is super incredible. And I think when you're coming from outside of rap, it kind of has this, you get this idea of like, chains and cars and guns and like, almost like semi-dangerous, right? But like, man, the sweetest people in the world, and they've accepted me in a big way. And so it's just, shout out to the Atlanta music scene, because
that's huge.
A lot of great people.
Yeah.
A lot of great people.
Love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the Rampage.
Sorry.
That was good.
It's good.
That was necessary, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Great segue.
Yeah.
Give us one unexpected thing or unexpected strategy to succeed in the industry, because you seem like the kind of guy that might know something.
I would just say follow your gut in a way, because for me, my gut says you understand all these different genres. You might as well go for it with them. Not necessarily master of none, because I think that's a tough approach.
Yeah.
But just following your gut in terms of what you actually love, because I think too many people might get wrapped up in the scene, right? Maybe they're all in on rap, but like maybe deep down, like they don't actually love rap. I love what Yo Phillips is doing. Do you guys know Yo? He's awesome. He is.
Is he doing the rap portraits thing
Yep.
and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, rap portraits is like, it's at the very beginning of it. I feel like, they're still under like 1,000 followers and shit on Instagram even.
Oh,
but like,
they're geniuses.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't even think I've tapped you into that.
Tap
but
me in.
He wrote an incredible.
Ryan Coca is a guy that founded Nugget, like the children furniture company, and he's like writing stuff with Yo for rap portraits, I think, or something.
Nice.
He's like tapped in with him. He's from Durham, North Carolina, and so
Yeah. Well, Yo is a genius. Like he's the one that did that big article with Ty Baisden about Brent Faiyaz and their run with the major labels.
Yeah.
It's like kind of controversial, but it was written in such a way. Yo is like a philosopher. The way that he writes. It's
this
like,
guy Ryan, same shit. That's probably why they like.
I'm sure they click.
Connect, because it's like.
Shout out Yo and Ryan.
Yeah. And so, what I love about Yo is like he follows his passion and follows his gut, because the idea of him writing in the very sophisticated style that he does for rap music,
it's unheard of.
Is like not obvious.
Yeah,
but it's because that's what he does and that's what he likes. He followed that and is super successful with it, and not to be afraid to go for what you might be passionate about versus what seems obvious, So that's like the number
that's
one
huge.
thing. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, yeah, part one of the Rampage.
Yeah.
Moving on to the this or that. I'm give you a couple options. You just pick the best one.
Cool.
Whatever jumps out at you.
Okay.
Rappers or singers?
Singers.
Artists or songwriters?
Artists.
Beer or liquor?
Beer.
Cars or trucks?
Cars. I'm not Southern, guys. I'm like from Chicago.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Trust me. House party or the club?
House party. No question.
At the lake or on the beach?
Oh, man.
Good one. We're asking the tough ones, right? I saw pictures on your Instagram at the lake, so this is a.
You see the fish I caught?
I think I did see the fish. you
Yeah,
caught.
oh yeah.
He seems very proud of this fish.
Yeah, for sure. You scroll back, and now I'm thinking about it, there's 2 fish photos. There's one fish photo that I'm super proud of. I'll send to you guys. It's actually my Venmo profile picture. It's
Oh, wow.
very small. It's in the lake.
Was that like a subtle way to be like, yeah, if you want to Venmo me for being on the show?
Venmo me money.
We'll put Dan's Venmo on the screen right now.
Please do.
Put it down in the
Gladly
somewhere.
accepting. The Buick needs fuel.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I was at the lake in Wisconsin with my family, and I caught like a fish maybe this big. So I held it up like a trophy. Took a picture. I'm super proud of that.
So are you going with the lake then?
I'm going with the lake because Lake Michigan's where I grew up. Like I love the lake, man. So I'm going with the lake.
Nice.
But there's beaches at the lake, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But I get what
True.
you're saying. The
Right.
ocean. You're saying
Right.
the ocean. Yeah.
Correct.
But the lake.
Driving or putting?
Driving. All day.
All day.
All day.
How long's your drive?
About 300.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's very long.
I golf
Okay.
a lot. I golf
Okay,
a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did our
this weekend
research.
twice.
There you go.
wow.
Yeah.
You do not want me to hit the course with you, so.
No.
But I will hit the courts with you.
Courts?
I will hoop
All
with you in Woe.
I do three. I feel like I do three things a lot. I'm either playing basketball, I'm either golfing, or playing Call of Duty.
Well, I will
Nice.
skip out on the last two, but I will definitely join you for the next session of hoops.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
do it. We come to the cam sessions. It's really fun.
For sure.
I want to give a shout out to the Call of Duty crew: Janny, Logan, Matt, James.
Do you play with Woe?
Brooks.
Do you play with Woe?
Woe plays.
Because he was claiming top shoot on
He was
the last
talking some
episode
shit.
that he was on.
About me?
No, but just in
general.
his crew.
Woe and I are friends, but when we play Call of Duty, I'm screaming at him. Like nothing makes me more mad. I'm pretty like relaxed. Nothing makes me more mad than like watching or like having Woe as a teammate.
Okay, moving on. Drums or flats?
Oh, drums,
Boxers or briefs?
briefs.
Cats or
You
dogs?
see these legs?
I didn't, but now, yeah. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Nashville or Atlanta?
Atlanta. Yeah, no question.
Great
love
second part of the
Nashville.
Rampage.
I love
Shout out Nashville, but it's not A-Town.
Atlanta's it. Yeah.
Moving on to the last part of the Rampage, we're going to do a quick word association. I'm just give you one word. Give me the first word back off the top of your head. The less you think, the better. Here we go. Clock.
Hand.
Dolphin.
Fin.
Schedule.
Annoying.
Mask.
Fake.
Children.
Fun.
Shampoo.
Clean.
Contract.
Annoying.
Art.
Incredible.
Anxiety.
Something I'm lucky I don't deal with.
Crypto.
Confusing.
Studio.
I would say fun for that too. I love seeing people create.
Politics.
Annoying.
Got some common themes here.
Yeah. I'll use annoying for half of it.
MFN.
Probably the best artist in the world.
What a rampage.
What a rampage, folks. What
Wow.
an episode. We appreciate Dan Helfrich for coming on the One More Time podcast. It has truly been a pleasure. If you guys like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, tune in. We got 10 episodes already, and we're not stopping here. We're
10
coming
deep.
back. We're coming back every single week.
Every week.
With genuine people like Dan, having genuine conversations about music. And until next week, we out.
Bye-bye.
Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time. Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time. Hop up in that foreign skirt, no. All the homie, this shit tripping, no. Middle finger to the law.